Welcome to the most listened to golf in the world, the Fairways of Life show, on air, online, and around the world, with the most candid interviews, unforgettable stories, taking you beyond the ropes. Here's your host, New York Times best-selling author, Matt Adams.
What is going on, folks? Welcome into the Fairways of Life show. We are back stateside as we welcome you to the PXG Custom Studios. You've never played golf like this before, period. It is the PGA Championship week, and we are absolutely pumped to share with you everything about the second men's major of 2025. The storylines are stout. The golf course is headed for some pretty serious weather over the next couple of days. Not sure if you guys have had a chance to see that yet. I'll get into that in some detail coming up a little bit later on in the program. But starting out today, we want to start our discussion about all things PGA Championship week at Quail Hollow with a review of what took place in the week that was. It was a signature event on the PGA Tour, and that signature event was won by a player that has shown some signature form so far this season in Sepp Straa. For Sepp Straa, it was his fourth win on the PGA Tour and his 180th start. 32 years, 10 days, the age of Sepp Straa. He collected, of course, 700 FedEx Cup points. He moved from number 4 to number 2 in the FedEx Cup standings with that accomplishment. As I mentioned, he's a 4-time winner on the PGA Tour. His last win was at the 2025 American Express before the Truist Championship. Second multiple winner during the 2025 PGA Tour season. Rory McIlroy won, of course, the AT&T Pebble Beach, the Players' Championship, and then the Masters to complete his career Grand Slam. Sepp successfully converted his second of 3 54-hole leads or co-leads so far this season for victory, and he made his fifth finish of a tie for 15th or better in the 6 signature events this season. He finished second in strokes gained, putting at, get this, 8.66. I could not believe that when I saw that. He's entering the week ranked 63rd in the season. He projected to move inside the top 10 in the official World Golf Rankings on Monday for the first time in his career. So for Sepp Straa, he was asked about his emotions after this most recent win. And this was, I thought, an interesting give and take with the media. Did he decide to give up distance in order to gain more accuracy off the tee? Thoughts that went into that. He was asked about moving inside of the top 10 in the world and what did that mean to him, given all the work that, of course, a player has to do to get to that level. And then this, how does it feel to be back in the winner's circle again in 2025?
Yeah, it's great. This year's been pretty good to me. Just really grateful for all the hard work from the people that don't get to stand on that 18th green and celebrate. The whole team, my wife, the stuff that she does every day for me to be able to do this. My parents that sacrificed pretty much every trip that they didn't take trips without golf trips. So, it was really special to get this win. And, just really grateful for the people in my life that allow me to play golf this way. I would say consistency at working at it, regardless of where I was in my game. Junior golf, I wasn't all that good. I definitely had some talent. I could hit the golf ball fairly well, but very rough around the edges. And at Georgia, I just felt like I kept getting better. Had a quick bout with the chipping yips my junior year and redshirted, but other than that, I felt like I just kept getting better. And after I graduated, same thing. I just kept trying to improve my golf game regardless of where I was compared to other people in my class, because my high school class was pretty stacked. A lot of guys finishing early and going on to the PGA Tour, and I was definitely not one of those. But, regardless of where I was, I just kept trying to improve my golf game and hoped that at the end of it, it would be good enough to kind of play out here. The big thing was just switching to John Tillery as my swing coach. Just the stuff we worked on. Once I started working with him, my iron play got really good, and at that point I was just very much concerned with getting the ball in the fairway, so I could take advantage of that with my iron game. And And it just kind of naturally happened. I mean, it's not a crazy switch. I went from like 174 ball speed to about 170 or so. But yeah, I've been able to hit a lot of fairways in the last couple of years, and been able to kind of take advantage of my iron play that way. Dewey, he hurt his back on Thursday last week, my usual caddy, and he told me on Sunday night that it was starting to get better, and then it kind of locked up Sunday night. And so he just kind of made sure that I had a backup plan in case it didn't get better, and reached out to Drew, who I play golf with a lot in Birmingham. He immediately hopped on a flight and was up here ready to go, and very fortunate that he was able to do that, obviously. I've played a lot of golf with him, so I was very comfortable being beside him, and it was a lot of fun having him on the bag, really. Dewey's been here all week supporting us, and just really grateful for those two guys. And Dewey was also there to hug me on the 18th green, and just really, really thankful. He told me at least this win counts for Ryder Cup points. So, really, really happy for that. I've been kind of behind in the points because of that win at Amex not counting, and but I knew that if I just kept playing good golf, I would have a chance to be there, and I'm sure this will probably help me out with the rankings a lot. So, very grateful, and hopefully I can keep the good play going and keep getting some more points. Just very grateful, because it's not just my hard work. My coaches, I switched to John Tillery right about that time, and Tim Yelverton, I'd been working with him for about a year, and the work that they put in, day out, is very special, and it makes it easier for me to go out and try to get better, because I know that they're doing everything they can to help me out, and I think it's just kind of a culmination of a lot of people putting a lot of work that's gotten me to this point.
Sepp Straa with another victory on the PGA Tour, quickly becoming a major player amongst the world's elites. Justin Thomas has already had that status as a multiple-time major champion, and the last one to win a major, where we're going to be this week at Quail Hollow for the PGA Championship. Justin Thomas collected his 10th career runner-up on the PGA Tour at the Truist. That's his third this season, which leads the tour. So for Justin Thomas, let's dive into what his thoughts were after that near miss.
I mean, it was a good day. I gave myself a chance, and starting 3 back to have a putt on 15 to tie for the lead. I mean, that's I definitely would have taken that at the start of the day. I'm a little disappointed in myself on 16 for pushing it a little too much and trying to attack there, but I had 2 really, really good players that were playing really well behind us to where I felt like I needed to, but I fought hard, played well, and gave myself a chance, which is what I wanted. I'm not sure. I think it can be tough, but it's very specific on the venue. I think, to be perfectly honest, I think playing the week after the U.S. Open in Oakmont is going to kind of suck. Oakmont is really hard, and it's going to take a lot out of all of us, so that's going to be a little different than playing at a place where you're shooting 15, 20 under. So, but it is what it is. All of us will be more than happy to tee it up, and there'll be a winner at the end of the week. Yeah, it'll be great. Even just being, as you locals here know, being a week later, I think will be even better for the golf course. Hopefully it's a little better than the weather was a little bit this week, but it's going to be great. The crowds will be nuts. They'll be very, very loud and boisterous, and maybe I can do something else between now and then so people can stop yelling cheesesteak at me.
There you go. What he was talking about there, that last answer, was he was asked a question about how excited he is that the PGA Championship will be going back to the Philadelphia area next year. Now, for Rory McIlroy, he was asked a series of interesting questions, too, which is the reason why we're highlighting him here. He ended up finishing tied for 7th on 10 under par. He was asked, did he feel like he was getting support from the crowd? What momentum does he feel like he's carrying into the PGA Championship weeks? Thoughts on playing a signature event the week before a major championship. He was asked about his friend Shane Lowry, who finished 2 shots back on 14 under, who said he has recommitted himself to golf. And Rory was asked, have you noticed it? Have you seen the change in your friend? Would you like to see more PGA Tour stops in the Northeast of the United States. Think about that for a second. We're in Philadelphia. You've got the Philadelphia market, the New York market, you've got the Boston market, and they all used to have, over the course of time at one time or another, regular PGA Tour stops, and that has dried up. That'd be a good question to ask somebody as to why, but he was asked if he'd like to see more in that region. And then we start with this. How do you feel about, and what do you need to improve for maximum performance at the PGA Championship?
I sort of struggled with this in Houston as well. Whenever we get these big, wide open golf courses where there's not a ton of definition, like I said, I think I would have hit way more fairways if had it been tree lined, and so I felt like I drove it a little better on the back nine today, which was good. Hard thing this week as well is the wind on the range has been left to right all week, and then you get out there and the first hole you play right to left, it's like just trying to adjust again. So. But overall, felt like I got a little better as the week went on. Played good, as you said, bogey free. I wish I had made a few more birdies, but I've got a better gauge of where my game is standing here right now than I did at the start of the week. So it was a good week for that. I wish I had got myself into contention a little bit more, but it was a good week, especially looking ahead to next week. Yeah, I think so. It's just trying to figure out the dates and when the best time is to play. It's hard. We traditionally play in the, I wish we would, because there's some great golf courses, but again, it's not just that. I mean, we have, the course has to be willing to give up their club for a few weeks, and that's quite disruptive. So it's it's harder, or it's a bit harder than just saying, yeah, we should come up here more often. You need to find the golf clubs that are willing to do it. Yeah, look, I've seen a huge difference in Shane since he, started living over here full time. We practice and we play so much together at home, and I think just, the back and forth from Ireland is tough, and even this time of the year, it's still hard to practice over there, and so I just feel like I've seen such a big improvement in his consistency week to week because, of where he lives, being able to practice in great conditions on great golf courses, getting games with the likes of myself or Ricky or JT or whoever lives down in Jupiter. So, it's been amazing to, as his friend, to see him play so well and so consistently. And I'm going to hang around here and hopefully see him get the job done. Before, I'm all for. After, I wouldn't. Not a huge fan of it, but it's hard. There's only so many weeks in the year, and but yeah, I really like playing the week before if it makes sense. I think again this week was a great indication of where my game is and what I need to think about and what I need to work on going into next week. So, but the weeks after majors are tough. I'm in a good place. I didn't feel like I played all that well this week, and I'm still finished 7th. So, even what I feel is my bad golf, I'm still thereabouts. So a couple little improvements and little tweaks, especially going to a place that I love like Quail Hollow. I feel like I'm in a really good spot. Yeah, no, I said this before. They're very enthusiastic. They're loud. They're relentless in terms of must have heard my name a million times this week. But no, it's been amazing. There's so many kids out here as well, which is wonderful. And as I was saying, I'm looking forward to coming up and playing here a little more often in the next few years. Aronimink next year, and then Marion for the Open in 30.
All right, the alternative event on the PGA Tour was the One Flight Myrtle Beach, a classic. Ryan Fox won with a 54-foot chip in the playoff. That was his maiden victory on the PGA Tour. He's a guy that's won multiple times around the world, and in particular on the DP World Tour. He finished on 15 under par, and he was asked by the media, walk us through that chip in the first hole of the playoff.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in a playoff's probably a little different mindset, a bit more like match play, and obviously I knew the two guys had pretty good birdie chances, and I just wanted to give the chip a run at it. And I had a really similar line in regulation and missed the putt right. And, my caddy Dean said to me, remember, this doesn't break that much. So I just kind of aimed straight at it, and I hit the spot I wanted to hit, which is always a nice thing. And, about 8 foot out, to be honest, it never looked like it was going anywhere else. And the rest of it's just a bit of a blur from there. Yeah, very rewarding. I I haven't transitioned probably as well as I would have liked over to the PGA Tour. It was a tough year last year. I managed to just keep my card, and it's been a scratchy start this year as well. I always deep down felt like I could compete with the guys out here, and just haven't been able to put it together. And was very happy to do it this week, and just give myself a chance on Sunday was nice again. And I've been in that position a bunch of times over on DP, and it's an uncomfortable feeling, but it's also a good feeling. That's where you want to be, and I've hit some pretty good shots down the stretch over in Europe, and it was nice to do the same thing here. And regardless if I'd have come out with a win or not today, I was really happy with how I played, and I could have taken a lot out of it. But to get that win is extra special. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Obviously it's Mother's Day today, so my wife sort of jokingly, on Friday said, "What can I get you for Mother's Day?" And she goes, "Well, a trophy would be nice." So I guess I lived up to my end of the bargain there. But to have the wife and kids here is amazing. You saw my two little girls, Isabel and Margot, running around on the green like crazy chickens. I don't think they quite understand what's going on, but it's pretty cool to have those photos, to have those memories of them there. And I had a couple with them in Europe on DP, and it's great to get one over here with them all here. It certainly makes it a little bit sweeter that there's someone there to share it with. Obviously, I've got my caddy Dean, who's been on my bag for a long time as well, but to have the family there is extra special. And got a little bit of changing stuff to do, which is interesting with a couple of kids instead of flying tomorrow morning, but that's good problems to have. And I'm just hoping they're not too excited and they're easy to get to sleep tonight.
Congratulations to Ryan Fox. Folks, when we come back, we're going to be joined by one of the names, one of the voices that you will readily recognize, who will be bringing us coverage of the PGA Championship this week. Very much looking forward to diving into this gentleman's thoughts about all things PGA Championship at Quail Hollow. Ben Hogan Golf, benhogangolf.com is the website, is where and how you could be associated with the iconic name of Ben Hogan. They are selling direct to you. There is no middleman. And what does that mean? That means you're going to save money along the way. They have incredible products, including their custom logo wedges. Check them out if you get a chance. Craftsmanship, precision, feel, forgiveness, playability, everything you have grown to become accustomed with under the legendary name Ben Hogan. benhogangolf.com for more.
Head down, water down the left, bunker down the right, take the club straight back.
Wandering minds. When golfers lose their focus, they're totally... But Bridgestone can help.
Introducing Mindset. The ball scientifically designed to keep you focused.
First, identify your target.
Next, visualize your shot path.
And then focus on the green dot and smooth one.
Play the Tour B and E12 with Mindset technology.
See what happens when we work together? Stuff like that.
FlightScope Mevo Plus is the ultimate indoor and outdoor golf launch monitor and simulator. It gives you the club and ball data you need with the accuracy you demand. Mevo Plus comes with ownership of simulated golf courses for you to play and practice at home. Mevo Plus is an essential golf partner to help you improve and understand your game better. Put more purpose in your practice. To learn more and get your Mevo Plus, shop now at flightscope.com.
Innovation has been at the heart of every SuperStroke grip we've ever created, cementing our status as the #1 putting grip on tour. Now the best just got better. Introducing SuperStroke Synergy, our most advanced putting grips ever, for unmatched confidence to quiet your hands and your mind. Find the perfect grip for your game at superstrokeusa.com.
Our journey began with a simple yet powerful vision to provide the world with the highest quality Virginia-type peanuts. The Hubbard Peanut Company, where quality and tradition meet to create an unforgettable experience. Visit hubspeanuts.com to explore our full range of products and place your order today. Stride by Zero Friction, the first of its kind personal caddy. Walk in comfort and style with Stride's remote and follow me technology. The Stride handles almost any terrain, and its 54-hole range will last all day. The lightweight design and removable front wheels makes it simple to handle. Plus, it easily fits golf carts. Pick up your Stride today at a local PGA Tour Superstore near you or at zerofriction.com/stride. Stride, your personal caddy.
Welcome back to the PXG Custom Studios. You've never played like this before, period. Matt Barrie co-anchors the noon Eastern Time Sports Center. During the college football season, you're familiar with Matt's work as he hosts the ESPN studio shows between games. He also calls some games. He was the main host for TGL's coverage that just recently wrapped up its first season. This week, he'll be doing Sports Center hosting live from Quail Hollow. The next couple days, he'll be hosting the Practice Round Show, which is a full 3 hours of coverage. That will be on ESPN+. He'll also be a hole announcer during the main coverage of the PGA Championship. Pleasure to welcome him into the show. Matt, how have you been?
You know, good. It's always good coming back with you. I know I live in the same house as Michael Leaves during the Masters, so I hear your interview with him Masters week, and I know mine's up and coming around the corner come PGA Championship week. So I'm doing great. I love major championship season. What a great start we've had to the golf season so far.
Indeed. Let's go to that great start that you've had to the golf season so far in TGL. What was on the inside the reaction from the league itself, from ESPN, and yours?
So the first reaction for the first, 3 or 4 weeks, candidly, we were kind of all, what the hell are we doing? Like, let's, this is fun. How do we make it better? And we all started evolving week to week and, made the adjustment to the hammer rule. And at that point, it clicked. And the players, it clicked. And you saw the competitiveness click. And it became this momentum that kind of took off into something that I don't even know if we thought was possible in year one with how the players responded to it. And the ratings, they outrated every projection that we set forth. The players went from having fun to being the trained killers that they are on the course. And now we're so excited for season 2 because we have no idea what to expect based on the popularity of year 1. And I'll tell you this, I've had more people come up to me at even Masters Week at Augusta National, at the golf course and local restaurants or airports. And these are parents coming up to me, thanking me. And I'm thanking you for what? Because their kids now watch golf. There was a guy that came up to me and said that his 2 7-year-old twin daughters made it a point to watch TGL because they absolutely loved it. And because of it, they'll watch Tiger, who they never got to see at 7 years old, be competitive. They'll watch Justin Thomas or some of these other players, Sahith Theegala. They'll watch him on a Tuesday night and then now all of a sudden be interested in what he's doing at a tournament Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So I think year 1 is just the beginning. And I think TGL, it's going to be here to stay, and it's going to be even bigger than it was this year.
How cool is it, Matty, that as you were alluding to with the young girls that were watching, et cetera, that we collectively are able to consume a game in a way now concluded that had never been done before in the history of the sport?
It's a great question because at its simplest form, and I talk about this with people all the time, its simplest form, TGL is a startup. I mean, when's the last time we had a startup in pro sports? I mean, we didn't know. No one knew. There was a structure to it. There was an idea of what we wanted it to be in hopes that it would be. And then it turned into week by week, figuring it out as we go in terms of the competitive nature and how the players are going to respond to this. And it was a new thing. It was a new thing with the world's best attached to it. And so think about that for a minute. These are the world's best at what they do and the greatest of all time right there in Tiger Woods. So we were asking them to do something outside of their comfort zone with something that they know really, really well. People came in and said, well, why can't they play the simulator? What's wrong with them? It was basically, I use this analogy, it was golden tee with real golf clubs. Yeah, can they go out here to Quail Hollow this week and tame this course? Probably. but you had to learn how to play the game, TGL. You had to learn how to play the game. And once they figured it out, like, oh, I can play this game too. I'm mic'd up for the entire broadcast. People see every single shot that I hit, and I get to interact with the host and interact with each other. And people get to see their personalities. All this did was open golf to another set of eyes. And I know that the naysayers were out there and oh, this isn't golf. This isn't what it was. Who cares? Who cares about that? Why don't you start thinking about it from a positive standpoint of there are kids in the video game world that'll never set foot on a golf course. But you know what they did? They started watching this, and the players like Tom Kim, who step foot on a golf course and play high-level golf in a video game world. Why is that bad? Why was that such a thing that everybody had to, who cares? It opened it up to a whole new world, and I think because of it, you're going to see a younger demographic get into golf. Our demographics and ratings, I think we're 42% of the audience. We're 18 to 34. That's the coveted demographic in sport. And we got it. And because of it, I think golf's going to grow.
Yeah, my opinion, Matty, and the whole thing with naysayers is, first of all, that's the reason why restaurants have menus. If it's not for you, then go find something that is for you. ESPN has plenty of channels to do the same. And I've always had this feeling. I felt the same way when people initially were criticizing the idea of the FedEx Cup playoffs. And in those early days, I was doing the radio, I used to get sent out to do the interviews with the guys that just missed the cut, and so their march to the FedEx Cup playoffs were over. Let me tell you, my feeling is we should be vested in anything that players are vested in. If it's important to them, it should be important to us. And when you're standing in front of a guy slamming a trunk because he's not moving on in the playoffs, it made me a believer in terms of what this means to the players and what they want to accomplish. So congratulations to everybody involved in TGL, including yourself, my friend, and with the hosting job. You did a great job of doing. All right, let's talk about Quail Hollow for a second. First of all, we have to talk about the weather at the start of the week. Just absolute deluge hitting the golf course. You know as much about this golf course as anybody and what you have seen. My first question would be in the what you've seen with the renovations over the last few years. Presumably, the drainage engineering is such that on those big hills, hopefully it can carry away a great deal of that water. Your thoughts about the ability of the golf course to handle it?
Yeah, I think you hit it. I mean, we've seen it now with some of the best courses in the country that when they don't go through remodels and renovations, they are now adding in a layer of drainage and the ability for the course to dry out in a way that if you get inclement weather like we're seeing here today and then tomorrow, that it's not going to affect the playability of the course. Now, look, there's going to be some times where you get inches of rain in a matter of an hour that just can't, no body of land can support that. But I believe that this place will be just fine as we get through the next couple of days. Today is a rain out. I mean, you look at the radar today and then behind me, and we'll go out to the course later. I've got some Sports Center stuff I have to do, so we'll have a better idea of how it's holding up. But in terms of through the week, I think by the time we get to Wednesday and late Wednesday afternoon, it's going to be fine. Thursday, it's going to be playable. Friday, you see the forecast there. And so modern golf course engineering is that to where you can play it. I mean, we see it all the time. Now, look, it's not Augusta National with that sub-air system where it can rain overnight. You get out there and it looks like it's been dry for the last month. But I think Quail Hollow's golf club's been done a great job of putting the place in position since the renovations, even since 2017 when they last hosted it, for this course to be ready to go come Thursday. And today, I was talking to somebody about this morning. They said, like, oh, the players can't get out there. What's going to happen? They can't practice around this, that, and the other. Well, think about it, Matt. I mean, they have a PGA Tour event here every year. If there was one major that could get away with perhaps a Monday lost, it would be here because the players are all familiar with it, even with the renovations, number one. And number two, they're coming off a signature event. So maybe, just maybe, a little bit of rest wouldn't do these guys some good going into the grind of a major championship week. But I think come peg in the ground, 7 a.m. Thursday morning, this place is going to be ready to go.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I think that the key is not that players will have limited time to practice. It's when there's a disparity in that. When half the field has a great amount of time to practice and the other ones, because maybe they're coming in from a West Coast event or what have you, can't get there soon enough and then the rain comes in, then there's a disparity. I don't think there's anybody that's going to find anything on the range the week of a major championship. Either they're coming in with it or not. If they all have the same amount or no amount of practice coming in, it is what it is. They're all on an even playing field as far as that goes. The golf course itself, it is so intriguing. It is so beautiful. It is such a great major championship venue. As Xander Schauffele said, this is a big boy golf course. There are 5 par 4s in excess of 480 yards, and 3 of those are in excess of 500 yards when stretched from stem to stern, one of them all the way out to 530 yards. Does that dynamic, does the fact that the fairways are going to be softer, so it's going to bring more players in, you're not going to have as many balls bounding through the fairway. If they hit, they catch. What do you think that changes in terms of the dynamic of favorites this week?
It's funny you bring that up because it's the Bombers' paradise. I mean, you still have to be, as precise as you can off the tee. But weather in any sport is the great neutralizer. In any sport. I mean, I'll take my other job at ESPN college football. If you have a team that's just known for throwing the ball over and over and over and over again, and they get out there and it's wet, rainy, and cold, well, guess what? That takes that away from him, and it neutralizes and puts the ball back in the ground game, and it kind of makes each team have to focus on that. Similar to that in golf. If your golf course is going to be dry, it's going to bring more players into play. Look, length on the tour now, everyone has it. I mean, there's a handful of guys that you wouldn't put up there that can keep up with everybody. But if the course is soft and receptive, that's just going to bring some of these guys in that potentially you would put out of the conversation. Now, coming in, what are we talking about? I mean, you see the odds right there. I mean, I can't see because my graphics over it, or my face is over. But I would put Rory McIlroy, the odds on favorite. I wouldn't even think twice about it. I would think Justin Thomas comes in here as another guy that can win this thing. And so you're going to have the same players, the Xanders trying to defend his championship, Bryson DeChambeau, he's been one of those guys you talk about in the major championships of late. But when you start going down the list, and some of these guys that you may not talk about because of the weather and because of the course being receptive, and you hit on it a minute ago in terms of practice time, you and I both know major championships, a lot of the time is luck of the draw. Are you early, late? Are you late, early? All of those are going to come into play. Weather's going to come into play. Course playability is going to come into play. And at the end of the day, I still believe you're going to see the top 10, 15 players in the world all be contending, but I would not be surprised based on what we're going to deal with in terms of a soft course. You might get a guy or two that you wouldn't normally expect to be able to contend because the course is going to be pretty much playable for everybody.
I'm not trying to go down a road of hyperbole here. This is dead serious. We've had Rory accomplish a career Grand Slam at the Masters. You've had Scottie Scheffler recently win. You've had Justin Thomas recently win and leading the tour in runner-up finishes this year on top of that with 3. So, and he's at 10 for his career, which is amazing. And that's just those 3. So when you talk about the top players, and you can throw in Morikawa, you can throw DeChambeau in there that's got to have a sense of revenge coming into this PGA Championship. Can you think of a recent major where so many of the great players were coming in playing great?
I can't. And in fact, last Thursday on X, I was just sitting there just doing some prep. And I said, you know what, a week from today, we tee off at the PGA Championship. And I have a gut feeling. That this is going to be an all-timer. And it's for that reason right there. And you know what you just said? We just went in and talked about all these world-class players and these guys coming into form. Think about a guy that you didn't bring up. Jon Rahm. Like, wait a second. Jon Rahm, who was at the peak of his game when he defected to LIV, at any given point, he can attack. Brooks Koepka won this thing 2 years ago. At any given point, Brooks can attack. That's how good golf is right now. And I think that's why the major championships are getting so much attention, because you have the guys on the tour, the Scotties, the Rorys, the Collins, the Xanders. Those guys are playing world-class golf. But then you add in the Bryson, U.S. Open champ, final pairing at the Masters, playing as good as anybody. Then you have, like I brought up, You have John Rahm. You have Brooks Koepka. You've got Cam Smith. You have all these guys that, I mean, sorry, you kind of forget about them when they're playing over on Live because there just isn't as easy to consume them, or it's just not as much of the public consciousness. You get those players clicking along with the players on the PGA Tour that are clicking in a course that every single one of them are familiar with. You have an opportunity for absolute fireworks. I genuinely believe this. I think at the Masters, here's what I said coming in, and Andy North alluded to it in our coverage earlier in the week at Augusta National. We thought it was Rory, Scottie, and maybe someone crashing the party. Maybe. And look what happened. Rory ended up winning. Bryson crashed the party. Here, I think we're going to say it all week starting today at 2 p.m. Eastern, that there are probably 8 to 10 guys who could come out here contend. And if you've got a leaderboard that bunched up with that many quality players, I mean, I think we're in for a treat, and it's just going to be a spectacular week of golf, and hopefully the weather cooperates.
Speaking of spectacular, Matt, the coverage from ESPN, and this is going across multiple platforms, is absolutely massive. Is it distinctively bigger than in years past? What is the philosophy? And I guess this goes to our earlier conversation about TGL. You guys are coming at people in so many different ways and so many different platforms. How you want to consume it, where you want to consume it, when you want to consume it, all of it is being delivered.
Yeah, you know, we were having a golf meeting, golf production meeting, just kind of talking about the philosophy of what we're going to do this week. And it starts with the practice round shows late in the week. You'd mentioned I'll be hosting one of those midweek. But for us, it's simple. It's a really simple philosophy. Show the first golf shot, 7 a.m. Show the last golf shot, go in the hole, the last putt, go in the hole, at whatever time that is. I think local sunsets 8:15, 8:20, something to that effect. And that's it. We're going to show you the very first tee shot, and we're going to show the last putt, go in the hole. Philosophy is simple. Show you as much golf as we can from start to finish every day that we have the coverage. And then in addition to that, while you're going to be getting every golf shot, if you want to go featured holes, have at it. If you want to go find a featured group that you love and you just want to watch them, have at it. Oh, by the way, if you're into the betting, and a lot of people who aren't nowadays, we've got a betting format for you on ESPN too. And so from the start on Thursday, when we get this thing teed off, if you don't want to, if you just want to be lazy at work and not do anything, you will literally not miss a shot of golf from 7 a.m. until dark. And I think that's the best part of what we do at ESPN and our golf coverage. When it's our time and it's our turn, we're just going to get dirty. We're going to show you everything. Those of us that are on the broadcast know that's going to be long days, but we wouldn't have it any other way because we're here to call major championship golf and bring it to the viewer. And I think that's what we do better than anybody from start to finish. ESPN Plus, the broadcast, and then back to ESPN Plus. You're not going to miss anything. This is a golfer's paradise this week in the amount of golf you'll be able to watch.
I like the way you phrase that, Matt. We're going to get dirty. Matt Barrie is a mutter out there in golf broadcasting, there's no doubt. All right, last question I have for you. You mentioned that you were sharing a house with Michael at the Masters. I want to know the one thing that Michael Eaves does in the house that annoys you the most.
Yeah, it's a great question because you would think, and by the way, Michael Collins also stays in that house, the America's.
Oh, and there's a lot of stuff he annoys you with. We don't even have to go down that road. Yeah.
I could get into a laundry list of caddies quirks that just drive me nuts. But the thing, Eaves and I have such opposite schedules because he'll do the night stuff and I do the daytime stuff. There really isn't much crossing. I think the only thing I could maybe say is that because I've got to wake up at 5:30, I'm in bed just a little bit earlier, and you know, Eaves is a healthy dude. He's big, so maybe walking in those old houses with the floors creaking. I mean, I'm just trying to think of something because we just don't encounter each other. We don't eat each other's food, so we're polite about that. Yeah, you know what? I would have to give Eaves a solid A for being a roommate. The other Michael, caddy, D+.
Oh, no. Yeah.
But Eaves, I give some good stars for being a good roommate.
Oh yeah, I've been a roommate with Michael Collins plenty of times over the years, so there's a whole litany I can go into there. But I did draw from what you said with Michael Eaves that it's the Herman Munster walking around the house. I get it, I understand it. It's been noted.
Yeah.
My friend, thank you for your time. Enjoy the week. We're looking forward to. We're proud of what you guys are doing.
We're gonna play some golf this week, and it's gonna be one to remember. Appreciate you guys anytime.
Get out there, be a mutter. All right, folks, we'll be back with more of the Fairways of Life show right after this, reminding everybody that Newton golf shafts are making a lot of noise in the world of golf. And the reason why is because Newton golf shafts, you can feel it. It stores the energy. That's called load at the top of your swing. It's important for you to know the concept of what we're talking about because every one of the best players in the world do exactly that. When they get the club to the top of their swing, it bows. They know that they have the load and that stored energy can be delivered directly into the back of the golf ball. Newton golf shafts are made to do that for all players, regardless of ability level. They're made right here in the USA. You owe it to yourself to check out Newton golf shafts. And frankly, I would recommend that you do this before you even think about going out and getting that new club. It might just be your golf shaft, saving you a tremendous amount of money and getting better performance. Head over to newtongolfco.com. newtongolfco.com.
In Ireland, golf is more than just a game. Come and experience our world-famous links courses and our world-famous parkland courses, all set alongside world-famous scenery. And visit our world-famous historic sites. And while you're here, enjoy our world-famous hospitality. Fill your heart with Ireland at ireland.com/golf.
Ben Hogan Golf Equipment is back. Established in 1953, we serve golfers who demand excellence of their equipment. Designed by the game's best engineers, forged in the world's best foundries, and built to order in the USA. Don't settle for off-the-rack disappointment. Elevate your game with custom clubs at direct consumer pricing. Exclusively at benhogangolf.com. That's benhogangolf.com.
At PXG, we believe you get more out of your golf clubs when you're custom fitted. This ensures that every PXG club in your bag is completely dialed in to deliver maximum performance for your swing. Golfers of every skill level should go through this process, and PXG's judgment-free fittings will make sure you're completely comfortable and satisfied. Book your fitting and see what we can do for your game. PXG, you've never played like this before, period.
Innovation has been at the heart of every Super Stroke grip we've ever created, cementing our status as the #1 putting grip on tour. Now the best just got better. Introducing Super Stroke Synergy, our most advanced putting grips ever, for unmatched confidence to quiet your hands and your mind. Find the perfect grip for your game at superstrokeusa.com.
What would your ultimate golf experience be like? Just you and a friend? Or would you round up some buddies for a foursome? Just one day? Or an entire week? There's a good chance your ultimate golf experience could be Michigan's magnificent 10. 10 incredible courses set among 3 remarkable resorts. See for yourself. Book your ultimate golf experience today.
Hey, I'm golf broadcaster Matt Adams. You know, Hub's Peanuts has been cooking up the top 1% of peanuts for over 70 years. And these aren't your average nut. These are super extra large Virginia peanuts cooked in the USA. Family-owned Hub's Peanuts have more protein than any other nuts. So whether it's a boost on the course or a special gift, the variety of flavors guarantees Hub's Peanuts is just what you need. Family-owned, nutritious, delicious, and sustainable. Hub's Peanuts, it's just right. HubsPeanuts.com.
When you choose Newton shafts, you're choosing more than a product. You're choosing innovation, pride, and excellence right here in America. We pay attention to the minutest of details, and you can feel that in the performance of our shafts.
Welcome back to the Fairways of Life Show. Pleasure to have your company. PGA Championship week. So, Andrew, I saw you when we were talking to Matt Barrie from ESPN. You put up the weather forecast. Could you throw that back up there again so we can take a look at this thing in all of its raging glory? And raging it is. It doesn't even have Monday on it. Today is it says 80% chance of rain, but it's due. Everyone's saying it's going to be horrible all day. It's going to just be a deluge throughout the course of the day. I always like to say that when you get the weather from the official sources like this is, that it's the most optimistic they possibly can be. Well, here's for Tuesday, chance of showers and thunderstorms, 60%. Wednesday, PM showers and thunderstorms. It's still 50-50. And then Thursday, Friday, chance of late day thunderstorms on Friday. And then Saturday, chance of PM showers, thunderstorms. I mean, that's just the slice that they gave us that we're looking at. You can see the winds there are moderate, but it's just a question of the logistics of getting 156 players through the golf course through those first couple of days when it's going to be wet and soggy if you get anything on Friday. So for the amount of time and hours that are being put into the broadcast of this event worldwide, and yeah, I'm bringing that up. I know people out there are like, what about the people that are working there and the people that are parking cars and all this? I get it. All of them, yeah, they're all included. I'm just saying it because what we do is broadcast, and for those that are directly involved in that, everyone that's part of ESPN's massive effort, and then CBS on the weekend, it's going to be a long week for everybody indeed. All right, so Dom, I wanted to ask you about the question of the day because I'm sure you did something fun here to start the PGA Championship week, and wherever we go with that, I'd like to also jump into some odds in a second. But let's start with the question of the day.
Sure. Question of the day is who's going to win the PGA Championship,
Good question
Matt?
of the day. Good question of the day.
Rory, Scottie, Bryson, who are the top three in the odds currently right now, or the field. The last option is the field. Right now, clubhouse leader, Matt, Bryson DeChambeau at 32%.
32% for Bryson.
DeChambeau over the field. 26% say Rory, and then 21% are saying the field and Scottie, sort of neck and neck. But the people are saying it's Rory and DeChambeau over the field right now.
Yeah,
one of them is going to win over the field.
I was kind of alluding to that when I was talking to Matt in terms of like storylines. Is Bryson coming in hungry? You know what I'm saying? Is Bryson coming in? You know, and I don't think it was bravado at the Masters. I think Bryson's gotten to be pretty honest. He was just giving it to us straight, and it was kind of it seemed a little bit like, you know, talk before a heavyweight bout, and he faded. He didn't do what he wanted to do. And I wonder if he's going to come into this PGA Championship hungry. You got a wet golf course, would seem to suit him. Distance isn't really doesn't matter to him anyway, nor does it to Rory, in fairness, and Scottie either. So give me, what was it for the field, Dom? 21% for the field?
Yes, currently 21%. I mean, obviously it's moving as we speak, but it's 21% are saying the field right now.
Yeah, and that field would include Justin Thomas in that category because he wasn't listed individually.
Yeah, Andrew, you can put up the odds. I mean, we've got an extensive list of the current odds right now. Now, for the record, this surprised me. I even said this to Matt. Right now, the odds makers, and it's obviously very close, but the odds makers are actually saying Scottie Scheffler is the favorite, not Rory McIlroy. That surprises me.
Oh, I mean, Scottie's coming off a dominating win, recent win. The odds makers are saying that Scottie Scheffler just jumped into a phone booth and popped out as the Scottie Scheffler that we know. Right? That's essentially what they're saying. He has control, but on a wet golf course, Rory's going to have more control than what he normally would have. But what I was getting at with that whole idea of when Dom says the field, it includes players like Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele. And remember, Xander at what they now call the Truist Championship, that's played at Quail Hollow. Obviously, it wasn't this past week because they're getting ready for the PGA Championship. But Xander, I think it was 22 and 24, if I'm not mistaken. He was in the top 3. I mean, it was very, very good finishes. If I'm not dead on with what I just told you, it's close. Colin Morikawa, who's shown good form, a multiple-time major champion, another major winner in John Rahm. You heard Matt Barrie talking about him. How come no one's talking about John Rahm? Ludwig, Joaquin, Brooks, Patrick Cantlay is showing form. Hideki, Tommy, Shane faded yesterday, but this is the type golf course that Shane Lowry seems to play well on. Victor Hovland, who won in Tampa. Terrell Hatton, who seems to get himself in the mix at least early on in all the big events that he plays in. Jordan Spieth is trying to win the career Grand Slam. Familiar storyline. Now, I wouldn't say that Jordan's coming in showing as any particular great form, but he's Jordan Spieth too. Russell Henley, who has played very, very well, doesn't have the length necessarily of the other players, but you know this course was, by comparison, in 2017 long when they played there the last time, and you had multiple players that played very, very well, despite the fact that they weren't amongst the longest hitters on tour. I'm talking about like Matt Kuchar was in the mix, Brian Harmon was in the mix. There were others. So it shows you how this is a course that's so well designed that players with a variety of different skills can play well there. I still think the chief skill when we're talking about off the tee is total driving. Because total driving is the combination of not only distance but also accuracy. And now you're going to have that thick rough, and it starts to get gnarly with the Bermuda, and it's wet, and it settles down to the bottom. So for the players that have some degree of accuracy, yeah, I think that's going to be one to watch. I think Sanjay M is one to watch. Corey Connors is one that at 80 to 1 you can see the odds coming in today. That to me would be worth a second look. So really interesting. Really very, very interesting to see all that. Are you hearing from the people, Dom, in terms of what their reaction is to the questions that you asked?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of concern that the soft conditions that are likely going to be a result of 3 or 4 or 5 days worth of rain on Quail Hollow are really going to eliminate a lot of players. I know you and Matt, the two Matts, you guys talked a little bit about that, and it seemed like Matt Barrie thought it wasn't really going to quite go that way, a little bit more along the lines of, I think it might open it up because it's going to make the greens soft and more receptive for everybody. But the people are saying, you know, like Kevin writes, you've got to keep it in the fairway now that it's super wet. And you know, Derek says the soft conditions are just going to eliminate almost all the field. It's just going to be so soft that whatever the carry distance is on your driver is how far you're going to be able to hit the golf ball.
Good
so
point.
if you carry the ball 329 or whatever, like Rory, you're going to have a 20 or 30-yard advantage over a lot of the other players. Same with Bryson, by the way.
Very, very interesting. All right, do you have you guys have put together the interview schedules coming up this week? Want to share that in terms of who's coming in when?
Yeah, tomorrow is the big day. You can see there on the screen the schedule of everybody is coming through tomorrow, wall to wall. Spieth, Rahm, JT, Keegan's there, Xander, Bryson, Rory's been added to the list, Brooks, Scheffler, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll have all that sound for you guys on Wednesday as we pair through all of those things tomorrow. But wall to wall tomorrow, it's everyone is sitting down, and you can see there in the middle of the day the PGA of America News Conference. Kerry Haig is almost always a part of that, and we'll share some information about the condition of the golf course, expectations, and they're probably going to release the purse at that time too, Matt. I don't think the official purse has been released yet. I know last year was 18 or 20 million or something. I think 3.5 million went to the winner last year or something like that. So I would imagine it'll be similar, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see that where that stands. I think more stock is put into the size of the purse than needs to be. I don't think for the vast majority of us anybody cares what the size of the purse is. We know that the winner is going to be getting a lot of money, and the purse is going to be stout. I would assume that they already have it. They already know what the purse is, unless they're waiting to see, you know, the turnstile or how many beers they sell. But whatever. Why not just tell people now? But anyway, so we'll get that information as the press conference schedules proceed, because they are.
Can I read something really quick?
Yeah,
Matt?
go ahead.
I'm just going to read a list of names. Just a list of names.
All right.
I know I tend to ramble and you get frustrated. Our friends at Data Golf, they have this fantastic subset on their site called the Trend Table.
Trend Table.
Which is literally the last 20 rounds of a professional golfer globally, including live, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it's a list of who is playing the absolute best golf right now this second in the world, live players included. This list of names, speaking to what you and Matt just talked about everyone who's really good is playing really good right now.
Mm-hmm.
This is the list in order. Scottie Scheffler, Rory McIlroy. I'm not just listing the best players. This is who's playing the best right now in the world. Bryson DeChambeau, Joaquin Niemann, John Rahm, Corey Connors, Justin Thomas, Daniel Berger, Colin Morikawa, Jordan Spieth, Russell Henley. This is wild, Matt. The players who are playing the absolute best are all essentially rock stars in the game right now.
Yeah, that's why I asked Matt that question of when can you think of a major where all of the top players were playing so well? Because coming into the Masters, we had Scottie that was showing signs of life but hadn't won yet this season. It just wasn't the same as it had been in the year prior. You had Xander Schauffele that was like, I have the ability to play really well, folks. I'm just waiting to see if it shows up this week, but we didn't know. And all of a sudden, he's showing some good form on a venue that Matt Barrie spoke to the fact that these players know this place. The setup will be harsher than it would be for a regular tour event. You heard me mention to him those 5 par 4s, all of which are 480 plus, 3 of which are 500 plus. Speaks to just how stout this golf course is, and making it wet only makes it play longer than what it did before. So,
can I give you one name?
Yes.
New name. Rasmus Nygaard Peterson from the DP World Tour. Last 5 starts, runner-up, 4th, 20th, 10th. He is playing 2.1 shots, true strokes gained around, better than the average right now. And he's playing 1.5 shots better than his expected average.
Okay.
That's a guy to keep an eye on. He's in the top 10 in the world right now in terms of being on fire.
Trending, yes.
On this trend table.
His trend table. What are his odds?
I don't know. Let me see. Let's see if he's listed. Andrew, is he on that long list of odds that you have? Probably not.
He's not on there.
Let's look.
Because if
he's not on
if
there.
he had like some
250 to 1.
250 to 1. I mean, if you were inclined to engage in such activity, he would be one that I would be like, wow. 250 to 1, and nobody will be thinking about him.
No.
Except for perhaps
chance.
now that you've
chance.
exposed him to the world as having
I exposed him. Yeah, I should have kept that to
played
myself.
well.
It was my mistake.
Exactly. Yeah.
What? You guys didn't pick him? Oh my God! I won so much money. You didn't know about this guy.
250 to 1. I put $5 down on him, and now I can pay my mortgage. All right, so
That's right.
This week we're gonna continue our march through talking about everything that surrounds this PGA Championship. We're super excited about that. Continuing to share storylines with you, updates on what's going on the golf course, and from tomorrow onward, and we'll continue to try to do this. We are going to go heavy in terms of how, when, where you can get the coverage of this PGA Championship. As you, again, heard me talking to Matt Barrie about with ESPN's coverage on their side, it is so stout and it's available in so many different ways that no matter where you are or what you're doing, you're going to be able to get your coverage of the PGA Championship in a way that suits you. So until we are together again, folks, thank you so much for your company. We wish you well and goodbye for now.